Hello everybody and welcome back to the funniest tweets. Today, yes, we are going to somehow try and talk about the Brazilian Grand Prix. I've slept on it. Genuinely still feels like a dream. It went on for what felt like forever, especially when we had that sort of pause on lap 33-ish. By that point, it felt like we'd watched around 5 race weekends, and we still had another half of the race to go. But anyway, lots of things to talk about. Let's dive into them. The Stappen Masterclass. I think there is absolutely no better segment to have than Max Verstappen and what he delivered yesterday. It was one of the best drives we've ever seen in Formula One history, both statistically and I think as well with how he managed it. The fact that he didn't even have the fastest car, in my opinion, and it was definitely down to the driver. At Amjan_PN, championship over. Lando's championship aspirations. Yeah, Max, it felt like Max was just like teasing him a little bit throughout this season. Like, oh, you can get within touching distance, Lando. Come on, get within 2 wins. Okay, 47 points? No more. 44. Okay, all right, we're going to cut it off there. I'm going to start 17th, you're going to start first, and I am going to come out of this 62 points ahead. At Mr. Bear 15, Verstappen winning a race. It's been 133 days. I can't believe this, that Verstappen hadn't won since Spain in terms of a main Grand Prix, and yet still has a commanding lead in the championship and will go on to be a 4-time world champion unless something absolutely ridiculous happens. But I think that's testament to 1, how amazing the season has been, and 2, that Max, despite not having the fastest car and sometimes having the 3rd or 4th fastest car, was still picking up points and capitalising on McLaren's mistakes and the driver's mistakes. So Max is just in another level, and I think 2021, when we look back at that, Max and Lewis, they were in another league compared to everyone else. And Max, this is why he's nearly a 4-time champion. At OG Thomas Damager, I'm not a Max fan, but outstanding drive. Every time. Was it Piastri? His came up. Outstanding penalty. They know what they're doing in the F1 TV graphics department. They really do. And yet we continue with this sort of jail-looking meme and the outstanding part of it, and I love it. Keep it coming. But yeah, it was an outstanding drive for Max. You had the whole paddock commending him. At Saura BHD Paris, Tommy, when Max wins the race, gets fastest lap and also has driver of the day. Now, it took me a while to realise what this meme was actually for, but I assume this is from Le Mans when, the hat comes. Yeah, it is. It's a mark of respect from Tommy to Max Verstappen after one of the great drives. At Naffin_24, everyone is struggling in wet conditions. Meanwhile, Max, 17 fastest laps. Just another one. Of course, the track was ramping up, but Max was the fastest on the track by a country mile. And of course, he's going to get fastest laps as the track is drying out slightly, and he was delivering metronomic consistency. I really hope this is a drive that is spoken about for years and years to come, and we appreciate it now as well, because that's not a drive we see very often at all. And to sum up this segment, at Luca Schalt, I never want to hear it's just the car ever again, Max Verstappen Masterclass. Formula One is very much sort of criticised, I guess, by the less of a fan, in the sense of, whoever has the fastest car wins. And then, of course, fan bases will say that, it's just the car and this, that and the other. Max and Lewis in recent years have shown that it's not just the car. It is not an auto-drive, autopilot machine that gives you a victory. It isn't. There is so much more to Formula One than just the car performance. I've been saying it for years, and maybe, just maybe, in those conditions particularly, it highlights that Formula One is not just a done deal from race 1 in terms of the pecking order, and that's it. This video is sponsored by one of our amazing partners, PC Specialist. Let me show you these incredible laptops that were sent by PC Specialist, which has helped our needs to be able to do content creation and a cheeky bit of gaming wherever in the world we are. PC Specialist excels in producing gaming PCs, laptops, workstations, and more, and they are renowned as a leading custom PC manufacturer in Europe. Focused on delivering high-performance systems, PC Specialist meets the needs of gamers, like myself, enthusiasts, content creators, also myself, and professionals, which maybe not, alike. You can build your custom PC Specialist system with ease using their accessible configurator, enabling you to personalize each component to match your preferences effortlessly. Build yours at the PC Specialist link below and use code MP1T at checkout for a £30 discount on your order. Brazil Chaos. So I thought I'd make a Brazil Chaos segment because it sort of encapsulates and encompasses quite a few different things that went on. So firstly, let's include Lance Stroll, shall we, at the Mercurian. Stroll, what do you want from me? Just start the race. I have no words. And the fact that it was Lance Stroll as well, it just kind of fits into the lore and the chapters within Lance Stroll's career, doesn't it, really? To just drive into a very deep gravel trap and then get beached after binning it on the formation lap. I don't know really what to say. He obviously has no information about that gravel trap when you should. It's what track walks are for. It's what your engineers are probably telling you about where the points are of curbs and gravel traps and depths. But Lance didn't listen, clearly. At Sith Sauron, Lawson defence against Perez, Lawson defence against Verstappen. Yeah, this was also a bit of chaos, wasn't it? Liam Lawson, he has it out for Sergio Perez. He's like, I want that seat, mate. I want that seat more than anything. Max, come through. Max, come on. Come through, mate. You keep pushing. Perez, on the other hand, you ain't getting through. Either neither of us are finishing this race, or I'm going to beat you, Checo, all right? And look, it's a fascinating rivalry to watch. Lawson's coming. I don't want to make any friends. I'm not here. I want to win. And Perez, it's just brilliant. At more than 7 digits, Lawson-Perez rivalry. Absolute cinema. I completely agree. What does the next 3 races have in store? Does Perez keep his Red Bull seat? I'm not even going to go down that avenue. I'm so sick of talking about it. But the last 3 races should be good. At Rishab, Lawson versus Checo, Lawson versus anyone else. I don't think this is exactly true. I don't think this is exactly true. I think it's more Lawson versus Max Verstappen is all innocent than Lawson versus everyone else. I will fight till the very end. Let's be real here. At Throttle Not B, when the safety car comes out just after you've pitted. Yeah, George Russell was not happy about this one. I think he said himself that he wanted to stay out, but the rain just came down like no tomorrow. But it was a mistake. It was a mistake from both George and Lando, but it's a mistake that's kind of expected from the leaders. You're the ones that have to make that decision, and it was getting treacherous out there. But look, whether they would have flown a red flag had it not been for Colapinto binning it, who knows? It looked like they were trying to force through it. Maybe they saw the weather that was on the other side of it and thought, okay, the race could maybe carry on if we don't get a crash. But we did. So George and Lando came cropper to that one. At F1 Dynamic, dream weekend for Alpine. What the hell is well, what are 2 polar bears doing in Texas? I can't believe it. It's not only did both of these Alpine drivers get on the podium, but they became friends after it. Their whatever beef is healed. They've got their arms around each other. They said their story is personal to them, but this is a special moment, and it just felt as though this was a turning point for Pierre and Esteban. Maybe they will be besties. At Kaylan Ribar, K-Mag is proud of him for no reason. Yeah, Ollie Behrman had a very treacherous race. I think this was it's expected, right, for a very inexperienced Formula 1 driver in those conditions to be making a few mistakes, and Ollie was Yeah, he had a few of them, to say the least. It was like one, then bred another, then bred another. At crispy_crouton, the Alpine leading. Like, at one point, Ocon was going to win. Ocon was on his way to winning. What on earth? At Sarah Leonard, strolling the formation lap. Done for the day. I bet he's quite glad, to be honest with you. Looked like a very stressful race. It was stressful to even watch. So I bet Lance was like, oh, you know what? I probably would have binned it halfway through anyway. Glad to just sort of sit in the garage, maybe go home. 3 weeks off. Thank you very much. Cheers. At Cell_Stone, the FIA right now deciding what to do after the formation lap. I mean, the formation lap, that in itself was just crazy and a massive talking point. Then we had another 17 chapters to Brazil Chaos. That felt like it was about 4 years ago. That whole formation lap, and then Lando only getting a fine and a reprimand. I thought that was going to be a 10-second stop-and-go converted penalty onto his race time. But alas, it was just a fine, which was kind of strange. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought, you know, it would have deserved a bit more. Honourable mentions. Right, into honourable mentions now, and there's just more memes, more chaos. At iErikoff, the Brazilian Grand Prix in a nutshell. At one point, when we saw George and Lando, neither of them could get on the throttle. That was it. Down that straight towards turn 4, it was insane to see that George, literally, both of them were just crawling. You could have got out and walked quicker. At a picture element, PSG to Verstappen after letting him pass. This was brilliant because I thought exactly the same thing. That Max just dived down the inside and it looked like Oscar gave him the biggest room possible. Please, come through, sir. What it now seems, after like watching a lot of the interviews and analysis, Max was just really late on the brakes, and in the wet, you can't really react too well to a driver diving down the inside. So it was definitely more Max masterclass, but it was funny just how big of a gap that looked when Oscar was defending. At Jonas Stroffot, Williams after this weekend. A few teams definitely after this weekend. The amount of damage, and this is what crazy changeable condition wet weather races bring, is just damage. And especially in a cost cap era, I'm a little bit concerned to see what Williams, after they tot up all of the damages, can actually do for the next 3 races. I hope they're okay, but this would have been a very painful weekend for them. At Hanakali, F1 fans after seeing a black flag for the first time since 2007. Yeah, just throw in a black flag. We had a DNF, DNS and disqualification in one race. All 3 of them, ticked them off, bingo. And Nico Hulkenberg was like, you know what, push me a little bit. Just push me a little bit, marshals. No one will see. That doesn't count. I'm still technically on the track, kind of. Not in a gravel trap. I'm just sort of... I mean, he was so unlucky to spin and then be beached so that the middle of his car was higher than the rest of it. It's just ridiculous. It's unfair as well. Oh, the marshals looked so happy. They were clapping away. They're like, go, Nico, woo! And then he got disqualified. At Bitter Boogies, the Aston Martin mechanics right now. Yeah. They Aston Martin, Williams, I feel for them. They were working so utterly hard. I mean, everyone was. The marshals, I think we've got one to actually appreciate in a second. Let's dive into them now, actually. At Movie Apprentice. Let's forget all the pettiness for 1 second and take a moment to give a shout out to the mechanics and engineers for getting all but one of the cars fixed in such a tight turnaround. For sure, I want to say to the marshals as well, they were brilliant over the course of the Brazilian Grand Prix race and sprint. Like, they were just on it, and don't forget their volunteers as well. So yeah, a big shout out and a massive effort to everyone that put on the circus entertainment that is Formula One for us. Thank you. At _Wildflower Kate, they took it literally. That is brilliant. I love that there's a Taylor Swift lyrics. I'm an Aston Martin that you steered straight into the ditch, then ran and hid. And it's funny as well because Kate here did this for qualifying, and it was absolutely relevant for the race as well. So I don't know what that says about Aston Martin's weekend, but they were very, very relatable lyrics. Here we go then, it's Tommy's Tasty Tweet time. As always, look at him. Wow, great to see Tommy here in the dimension that is just Tommy's Tasty Tweet. He only exists for this particular segment in this particular world. This is the version. Anyway, I'm waffling, Tommy. What is the Tasty Tweet for this week, this crazy week?
The tasty tweet is from Sarah Leonard, and it's the top 3 with this brilliant meme of the Alpines, the 2 Alpines. How they managed to get a double podium is quite insane, and this perfectly sums it up. They're in the BWT pink as well. What a meme.
It's such a good meme. I absolutely love it. That is fully deserving of Tommy's tasty tweet. Have you recovered from the race yet?
Just about. I had a very good sleep, and it was one of the most mentally tiring races I've ever watched, but also one of the best, so good times.
I can only imagine actually taking part or being there and being involved in it. Crazy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tommy. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Right, that is it. Thank you so much for tuning in to the funniest tweets to the Brazilian Grand Prix. I hope you enjoyed. What a crazy weekend. Hashtag P1 if you want to get involved for next time. Big thanks to EA and F124 for sponsoring this series. And we will see you in a few weeks' time for the next race, where Championship is pretty much done, but we still got 3 crazy races, which should provide a lot of entertainment. Lots of love. See you soon. Bye.